Welcome back to the Smugglers Den. I believe this is episode 55. I'm your host, Tiny Grimes. This week we have Gameslayer joining us. And before we get started, once again, I want to thank everyone on Patreon who continues to support the show. Thank you so much. I put a new goal up for like a 4-hour live stream. I'm just going to play decks the whole time. If we meet the goal, it should be fun. And welcome, Gameslayer. What's going on?
Hello, everyone's me, aka NooBrainer. Welcome to the Smugglers Den. Thank you for having me, Tiny. Not much is happening right at the moment.
Not really sure what that was.
Just talking to you. I've just recently got my final deck list confirmed in the Season 6 TTS League.
Wow. That's traumatic. It's always scary when it's like, hey, we need your deck list. A new set just dropped.
Oh yeah. Not only that, but also the Outer Rim Circuit also requires the deck list by tonight. I'm planning on having 2 different decks. Ooh. So, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest here. I don't even know what the Outer Rim Circuit is. What is this?
So the Outer Rim Circuit was originally set up immediately after Artificeries League was removed, and the plan was to just keep playing under the radar.
Gotcha.
But then the actual Season 6 TTS League started up, and we didn't receive any flack from it. So the Outer Rim Circuit is currently run by someone who is not affiliated with Artificery, and he's actually starting to post things onto social media and stuff, trying to get people involved. It's a pay-to-enter league, and well, no one can enter it anymore because they've just closed the entry. But I'm sure you might be able to get into Season 2.
Wow, that sounds exciting. Do you know how many people are going to be in it?
Well, there's currently 60 people in the Discord channel. I can only assume that most of them are turning up, so we'll probably have about 40 or 50 people. We're probably looking at, I don't know, a prize pool of maybe like $100 or something.
Not bad.
First place.
Nice. Well, that'll be fun. So Gameslayer, how would people in the Destiny community know you? Give us a quick story.
All right. So, back in the aeons ago, in the old October of 2016,
so this is
this
Awakenings?
guy named Tiny Grimes started doing YouTube videos on Star Wars Destiny. I believe it was October.
I know that guy. He sounds great.
Then I was really bored of the fact that he wasn't doing any gameplay content. So I decided to start doing gameplay content on my own. I felt I started doing stuff in late November of that year, and I'm amazed that I was still pretty much the very first person. And I've been doing this on and off ever since early Awakenings, before it was even real.
Nice. And what have you been doing? Have you been going to Worlds? Have you been going to Regionals? Give us an update on where you're at there.
All right, so I have played officially 1 tournament in real life in Star Wars Destiny, and that 1 tournament was Worlds.
Okay.
This last Worlds that happened. I got top 100. Yeah, you know, I made day 2, which is all right, 5-3.
Okay.
Very, very salty of how things ended up. People can hear that on my YouTube channel where I took meticulous notes after the game and then went through the gameplays afterwards.
Okay, fair enough. And what is your YouTube channel, just in case there's someone out there who doesn't know the great Gameslayer?
YouTube.com/NooBrainer. NOOBrainer.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let's talk about the events we've been going to play. So you're going to be playing in the Outer Rim Circuit, TTS Season League. I just played an event. I played a Galactic Qualifier, probably the last one pre-Ways of the Force, pre-balance update, and it was crazy, man. You want to hear about this Galactic Qualifier?
Oh, absolutely. Please, tell me all about this.
I saw a long time ago, it was at the Anime Expo, and I was like, okay, it's probably some, like, LA has millions of these little tiny cons that no one really goes to, and it's whatever, it's fine. And I just assumed the Anime Expo was going to be this as well. And then I saw it's at the LA Convention Center downtown, and I was like, this might be bigger than I was thinking. And it was. It was enormous. When I parked my car at 9 and arrived in the building at like 11 by the time I actually got to Cascade Games booth, with all the various lines I had to wait in, mostly outside in the sweltering LA heat. It was a brutal experience to get in the door.
Yeah.
I was in a
And
rush
of course,
that day.
it started at 8:30, so you was already disqualified, right?
Well, it was supposed to start at 10:30. They started at like 12:30 because they knew the realities that no one was going to be able to get in. It was a total nightmare. And in addition, they cost $70 for my one-day pass and $30 to park. So it was a pricey experience. And because it took so long, I was only able to compete in the qualifier and one draft, and then I went home.
So that was a day of queuing then.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough day, but I did go 6-0 in the qualifier.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun. I drafted the worst draft deck I've ever drafted, yet I still went 2-1. So I gave myself a big clap on the back for that one. My deck was Grievous Anakin, 1 die each. Yep, it was good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't even have 4 weapons in my deck, so I could never have activated Grievous's ability. I had no good removal.
How did that win?
How it won was Reposition. Reposition, which sounds like kind of a terrible card, which is something, its text is like, your opponent can turn whatever die they want to whatever side they want, and then you can do the same, but you can't touch the die they turned.
Did they turn you to a 3 melee?
They did not, but I would try to play it at like the perfect time where like Grievous would already be showing garbage, their guy would already be showing a decent side, so it'd be like they could turn their 1 melee to a 2, and I would turn a blank to a 3, or maybe they would have to turn their 2 to a 1, and my blank to a 3, and I had 3 copies of Reposition, and to be honest, I still don't know how I won these games.
All right, so for those in the future, what you've got to figure out is what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to turn your Grievous from a blank to the 2 disrupt side.
Yeah.
Because then you turn their die from a 1 melee to a blank.
Yes, exactly. That would be the best usage of the card, and I believe by the end of by the last game, my last opponent did pick up on that and immediately shifted my Grievous die, and I was like, okay, that's unfortunate. But I did have like the Fang Fighter, so I could hit the Fang Fighter instead of Grievous. But I don't know how I went 2-1, but I did, and it was a miracle. And just to be clear, I thrashed the Rebel Spy, who had a decent deck. So I'm just gonna put that out there right now. Game 1, thrashing of the Rebel Spy.
Tut.
Yeah, he almost started crying, I think, because it was crazy. I just rolled 3s every time with Grievous, and he was like, huh. Okay, all right, I have no removal. Cool, that's 3 more. So we got there. But yeah, so that was the Galactic Qualifier. Crazy thing, man. When you play in a tournament, as I'm sure you know, you bring water just in case. I was in a hurry. The morning was crazy. I forgot to grab water. I'm thinking it's a con. I'll be able to grab water. I was not ever able to get out and get water or food. And from 9 a.m. till I left at almost 7, I didn't drink an ounce of liquid. And I thought I was going to die by the end.
I'm the sort of person who can go through like 3 cups of water per game.
Yeah.
I could not imagine that.
It was really brutal. It was like, it felt like I was on a game show where they're like, all right, we're going to put you through this horrible experience. And at the end of the day, you get a spot gloss Yoda if you don't pass out. And I was like, all right, I can do it. So I did it. I got my Yoda. And I don't have 2 Yoda dice, so I still can't play Elite Yoda, but I got him.
Nice.
So that's where we're at. Okay.
A few dice I do in fact have.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I don't know if you noticed, man. There was a balance update. A holocron. Yeah, you noticed, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I heard something about that. I think I heard a lot of people scream out that Ayla Ray is no longer a thing.
Yeah, Ayla Ray is definitely not a thing when you can just go Luke Ray. Like Ayla Ray is dead.
Yeah.
So
no profitable connections anymore. Ayla now costs 13 instead of 12 for the elite.
Yeah, I mean,
A
what do
change
you
that
think?
needed to happen.
It seems on the surface you could easily look at that and say, "Oh, that's a pretty small change," but that is not a small change, is it?
No, not at all. Ayla was so incredibly efficient, and I mean, she still is efficient, but that's a big difference going from 12 to Yoda levels. Like that is the profitable connections right there, which is what makes that Ayla Ray deck work.
Yep.
Now we're looking at it and we're thinking, Ray 1 is pretty good again.
I just thought of something that I hadn't thought of before, and I don't think this is great. But what we could still do is play Ayla Luke 2 plus profitable connections. Am I swaying you at all?
No, not in the slightest. No.
Couldn't
I'd
sway
much rather
myself
play
either.
Luke 3, Ray 1.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I don't want to say Ayla's dead, because she's not dead, but she's not that impressive anymore. And mainly, this is going to sound crazy, I've actually built a deck where I had 12 points, and instead of Elite Ayla, I just played Luke, the new Luke. Just one die Luke.
Really?
Yeah. It's not a melee deck, though. It's a vehicle deck, actually. As crazy as that sounds.
That makes sense. The 2 shield side is quite significantly better than a 2 melee in those types of decks.
Yeah. And the difference, of course, being that Luke is only 12, Ayla's 13, changes everything. So, yeah, I don't know. Ayla is in a bad spot now. 13, she competes with a lot of stuff, which I personally think is great, right? Like, we want her competing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She now competes with Yoda instead of, Yoda wipes the floor with her now, but she would be competing with Yoda.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix there, because isn't Kanan also 10-13?
Yes, Kanan is 10-13
Yeah.
as well, and you look at Ayla's die, and Rex also has a very similar die to her, and he's 11-14. So you can't justify having Ayla at 9-12 and Rex at 11-14, but now you can at 10-13, 11-14.
Yeah. What's interesting, though, is, like, Ayla at 9-12 was completely broken and absurd, and at 10-13, she's not all that playable. It's kind of amazing how just 1 point is such a crazy difference in this game, from borderline broken to borderline unplayable.
Yeah, I mean, look at Unkar. He's 1 point ahead now. They nerfed him from +2 to +1, and no one plays him still.
I'm not sure if they'd play him at his old cost, though. There's been such a power creep going on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so that's the next one.
Not so much power creep as it is health creep, right?
Yeah, it's not just health creep, though. It's health creep and cost creep. Like the new Luke at 12-15 is completely absurd.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. So next thing is Unkar came back a little bit. Instead of being +2, he's only +1. Is Unkar playable to
Wait,
you?
is that in this holocron? Oh, I thought that was in the last one.
No, it's this one. Is he playable to you?
No, not playable in the slightest still.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna say it doesn't seem like it.
So the big thing with Unkar there is that his +2 resource side is absolutely insane, but it's not easy. It's not easy to justify 11-14 for a support character, especially one with no damage sides on him. And his ability is now, let's be honest, fairly subpar. I mean, you're going to hit some vehicles, but vehicle decks tend to run 2 and 3 cost vehicles now.
Yeah.
What uses a lot of resources? I mean, I guess some of the new villain decks might use a lot, but I just don't see him having a place.
Yeah, and the problem to me is, like, Snoke Thrawn is a thing, and isn't that
Snoke's
just
at 13?
Yeah, isn't that just better than Unkar Thrawn, even if Unkar was legal? I think it is.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's better than Unkar, simply because Unkar would still give you access to buyout, which is a win condition in and of itself for that type of deck.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so maybe for the mill version, Unkar would still be better, but I think for, like, the vehicle version, probably Snoke would be better.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so that's interesting. You're right. Maybe he would be better. And wasn't there one more thing that got hit? Am I imagining things?
Oh yes, Sabine Ezra.
Oh, yeah.
No longer playing Elite Ezra because Sabine has been increased.
Yeah, Sabine is 21 now. Okay,
yep, 21.
Sure.
That needed to happen because have you seen the card known as Grand Entrance?
Oh my God, Grand Entrance is so sick.
Yeah, red neutral, 1 cost. Activate a character, reroll any number of its dice, reroll any number of its dice again. One of the decks to beat might just be Sabine Gungan.
Sure.
So that you can play this card, so that you can play Grand Entrance, because that's a 1 cost. Never tell me the odds with ambush, effectively. Because you activate Sabine, you get the ambush weapon from your discard pile, you put it on Sabine, you have that ambush action to resolve your dice, and you also get to roll your dice 3 times for your god roll.
Yeah. Grand Entrance is amazing. Are we... Okay, so I have to look up Sabine now again. What is the exact text of Sabine again? I feel like that doesn't work with Sabine.
Play an upgrade, yada yada.
No, you can't yada yada that part. Hold on, okay. Before you activate this character, you may play a weapon from your discard pile. So I don't think you can Grand Entrance and do the thing, right? Because playing the weapon comes from the activation, and Grand Entrance... Yes,
but Grand Entrance activates the character.
Right. Oh, okay. No, okay, so you're saying you play Grand Entrance first, which activates her, which lets you play the weapon to give you the ambush, which lets you then do the resolution. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she's also quite scary as well because of this new thermal card. No one's going to play it, probably, but it's basically a 2-cost thermal detonator. You know, it's cost 2, deals 2 damage instead of cost 3, deals 3.
Yeah.
Now, value proposition-wise, paying 2 for a thermal that does 3 to everything is not that great, whereas paying 1 to deal 2 to everything, that's a 50% ratio. That's a much better thing. Now, it doesn't have ambush, of course, but people might play Infamous nowadays because of running interference issues. And if you pay 1 for 4 or 6 damage, that's worth it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a meta call card, right? Like, if we see 3 character decks, then I could see that. You said Sabine Gungan. I'm thinking Sabine Rebel Trooper soaking up the damage with his Guardian.
Now, why you play the Gungan is for long-term planning, the plot.
Okay. Let's go over the text of long-term planning.
Basically, you can spend your action to either exhaust it and put a resource on top of it, or resolve a dice, increasing its value by the amount of resources on that plot. What that means is that over time, you'll eventually end up with a +3 or a +4, which you can apply to any dice. Now, with Sabine, her ambush action kicks in, she rolls a 3, you have a +3 on the long-term planning, that's 6 damage to a character. That character is almost certainly dead.
Yeah. The reason I like so much the Rebel Trooper is he's soaking up some of the damage, Sabine's going to soak up some of the damage, and then you get to play Blaze of Glory to kill that Rebel Trooper when he's at like 5, which otherwise they're not even going to bother targeting him. I don't know. The plot
to be
might
fair,
be
you
better.
can do the same thing with the Gungan. I'd like to try it. I've actually got one of my the season 6 top cut that require my deck list. I'm actually playing Mars Finn with long-term planning.
Wow.
The idea being that this is a deck that is even faster than Sabine decks. You play Rex's Blaster, right? Rex's Blaster allows you to activate your other character if you control the battlefield when you activate a character.
Okay.
All right. So you play it onto your Finn. You play hit and run on Finn. You roll out Finn. Then you roll out Mars. Then you get to use Mars's ability to resolve 2 of your dice. So you resolve her focuses, turn Finn's dice to great, and then, because of the ambush action from hit and run, you resolve all your Finn dice.
Okay. But then you only get to do that, when you draw hit and run.
Yeah. Or quick draw. Or Grand Entrance. I mean, even if you just activate Finn, you're still activating Finn to activate Mars to then resolve 2 dice. So it's still 2 completely unmitigatable dice. They can't do anything about it. And then you just play Hyperspace Jump or Retreat.
Okay. I was going to say, are you also playing, what's the card that does 2 indirect, essentially, every time you claim? Planetary Uprising?
Because I'm not claiming. I'm playing Hyperspace Jump or Retreat.
You're just jumping and retreating. And
generally speaking, I'd rather play I'd rather spend those 2 resources on a weapon.
Sure.
So that I've got more dice to roll out when I do hit my huge turns.
That makes sense. And are you playing Truce and things like that to make sure you have the money to be able to do all this
Yeah,
stuff?
Mars's Vault is a lifesaver there for a lot of the game.
The Vault, Truce.
And
Interesting.
on top of that, of course, with long-term planning, because that deck runs long-term planning as well, long-term planning synergizes extremely well with Retreat and Hyperspace, because those reset unexhaust the long-term planning because you've ended your turn, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I can just be like, all right, hit and run, Finn, blah, throw that out, tap long-term planning, Hyperspace jump. All right, roll out, Finn, blah, blah, Hyperspace jump. All right. So now my long-term planning is on a +3, and you've not done anything to me yet.
Yeah, that certainly that deck sounds amazing when everything comes together, right? Like if you get the jumps and the retreats early, and a weapon early, and the money early, and the vault early, it seems like you almost automatically win.
It's a little dependent, yeah.
Okay.
Finn is actually more consistent than Sabine in his dice, in that you have 4 sides that are damage compared to Sabine's 2. But you can sometimes just not hit a base side.
Gotcha. Well, that deck certainly sounds promising.
Yeah, there's incredibly few weapons actually that have a base 2 side on them for 2 cost. Because usually those are 2 for 1 resources, like on the Holdout Blaster, and that's a big problem with this deck actually. But I'm trying it out. I'm playing it in the tournament. We'll see how it goes. I'm actually playing the deck very poorly, so.
Fair enough. Well, we'll keep our eye out for you then, and we'll be rooting for you now that you're a smuggler. You're in the Smugglers Den family, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's talk about, I guess, the Store Championship winning decks, and I'm curious to see what you think, what I think about whether these are just kind of like decks that are winning and doing well because it's early and they're obvious, or if we think these are essentially some of the best decks. Let's start with Kylo Price, because it seems like everyone has kind of jumped on that as like an ultra obvious, fast, damaging deck. What do you think? Do you think it's legit? Is it going to be a tier 1 deck, or do you think it's more of a preying on the meta?
I think it's a little too early to say it's a tier 1 deck. I mean, by the end of Legacies, I think there was only 2 tier 1 decks in the meta, which was the Sabine Ezra and the Yoda Rookie Ezra. But this is incredibly promising. You can make a lot of money using Price and Chance Cube. You can do a lot of damage using Kylo. Of course, it's villain blue, so it has a lot of really nice tricks. You feel your angers and stuff like that. And then, of course, you've got your some decks will play the Mauls, some decks won't. You've got your Dagger of Mortis, which is incredibly powerful. Force Illusions, of course. Kylo also has 12 health, so it's a very tanky deck. Surprisingly tanky deck.
Yeah.
And a lot. The only problem is that decks that are faster than it will be able to abuse the fact that Price reduces in value quite considerably once specials can no longer resolve the dice. But, I mean, you can still play cards like Force Speed.
Yeah, it's, I feel like it's good for sure. I mean, I think Kylo is just good. Price is good on their own, so together they're going to be good. I am curious to see if this is just a sort of preying on people experimenting, and so a really fast, effective deck is going to be really strong right now, or not. But certainly it has all the tools, right? Like, it's not like the decks I've looked at are essentially the standard blue decks we've seen with Dagger of Mortis and Price. Like, that's about it. They're just kind of standard decks.
Yeah. I didn't think in the Legacies format that Kylo Anakin was even tier 1. I thought it was very much a meta call, and I think as people diversify their deck options, move away from some of these monos, I know that people like to play their mono reds and stuff, as they start putting gray cards back into their decks, I think Kylo Price is going to have a little bit more of a consistency issue. But for now, I certainly prey on people trying to be a bit experimental and try and jam-pack their decks with all these very unique and interesting cards that Gray pretty much doesn't have. Gray is just, there as a good set.
Yeah, I feel like in these new metas, fast decks tend to win, right? Like, there was a reason why Django Veers was the best deck for a while, because it was the fastest. Okay, what are some other decks that have been winning here? I'm trying to find which decks have been winning. I'm having a hard time remembering. I think a Snoke what's his name? Deck 1. Snoke CAD Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on Snoke CAD Bane? Is that for real?
I mean, it's evil. I'll give it that. Being able to discard 4 for a resource just straight off is quite insane. But Snoke hurts CAD Bane is the problem, I think, with that deck. Which, I mean, goes without saying, but CAD Bane's never been top tier. There's always been better options at 17 and 16 than CAD Bane, and I think we're going to see better options again. CAD Bane just has 2 sides that both cost of money. That's just so oof, unfortunately.
Yeah, whenever I see CAD Bane in a winning deck list, I always think that deck could be better.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Absolutely.
you said,
And
CAD's fine. He's good, but I think we have better choices at 17.
I mean, you could lose one of the dice and run Snoke Aura Sing instead, and at that point you can do 5 damage with a single one of Aura's resolves without having to pay her money. Instead, you just discard a card from your hand, and that's a lot more palatable to me. Do you really need Snoke for his dice?
Yeah, I'm torn on Snoke and his dice. Those focus sides are pretty darn useful, but yeah, you're certainly playing him for his ability, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that deck is it seems like if or when she dies, when Aura dies, you're just dead. But probably the same with the CAD Bane deck. Maybe you'll have some redeploy left over. So let's talk a little bit about Snoke then. Where do you think Snoke lands in the meta? Do you think he is broken good, or overrated and just pretty good?
I mean, I'm going to say I think he's just overrated and pretty good. I mean, weirdly enough, villains don't tend to use their focus chaining very much. I mean, heroes don't too much either anymore. I mean, most of that is going to be on Yoda. But focus chain just hasn't necessarily been a thing with villains. Villains tend to be a lot better at just swarming the board with dice, I find. I don't know how accurate that actually is, but that tends to be how they're played. I don't think Snoke can't replace Seventh Sister with the 16 character deck, I don't think. So you're definitely looking at him with 17 costs, and at that point you're looking at Kylo, who I think price is just better with, or you're looking at CAD Bane or Thrawn. And I've not played against a Snoke Thrawn, but they can definitely do work. But CAD Bane, I think he's a gimmick, as I've said.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Snoke, because every time I say I don't think Snoke's that great, like I think he's overrated, and then someone plays a Snoke deck against me, I'm like, oh my god, that's so oppressive. It's like, oh, the 3 becomes a 5, and the 2 resources becomes 4. So I'm still a little unsure on Snoke. I think Snoke Thrawn is the deck that I most want to play and experiment with. Thrawn Snoke vehicles, being able to play big vehicles, being able to play things like Dark Ritual and bring them back after they die. All that sounds really fun and promising to me. Oh
yeah, it's definitely much more viable than what I was attempting to do at the start. I was trying to get Palpatine 2 to work with a Super Mandalorian Commando. Doesn't work. So then I tried Palpatine 2 with Dr. Aphra. Doesn't work again. So Snoke, yes, he's at 13. He's basically Palpatine 2. At 20.
Yeah. I've tried a lot of Palpatine 2 decks.
I so wish he could work.
None of them have ever worked.
I was excited with Bendu's Lair. I was like, this is finally Palpatine 2 can rise with this.
Yeah, and it
just doesn't work out.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. All right, well, what are some other decks you're working on? So we've got one of your decks. What's another deck you're working up?
Well, the other deck that I'm going to be bringing to the Outer Rim circuit is kind of boring. I mean, I've been playing Yoda, Ezra, Rookie Pilot for most of Legacies, honestly. And I've basically just upgraded that with some Hellfire droids, that Hellfire battle droid support, and the hero yellow that allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck for a droid, and replace the Z95 Headhunter with the red I wish I remembered the name of the card. This is how much I play the deck.
Great Speeder?
Yes, the Speeder, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Great Speeder is crazy good.
That is a very good card. Very good.
And you're not using Rose?
2 cost 2 damage is always considered good from the T-47. And now this is 2 cost 3 damage once.
I heard you're not using Rose. Is that correct?
That is correct. Okay. Yoda, Rookie Ezra. So this is only going to work once.
Okay, gotcha. And so I'm assuming you're not playing the Mohawk and that kind of stuff.
No. That's too much on that scale. But the Hellfire droid tank is definitely working out well. I really want to play the pod racer with that, because if you play a Hellfire droid and then you play a pod racer, you do 1 indirect damage, and then you roll out the pod racer, and it lands on a blank, and it returns to your hand, and then you play it again, and you do 1 more damage.
So you're actually making its downside a plus.
Exactly.
Intriguing. It sounds kind of inefficient to pay $1 for an indirect damage, but
hey, if you have 2 of them on the field, if you manage to get 2 of them, it's 2 indirect for $1. Thank you very much.
That's a good point. I'm still not sure I would pay $1 for 2 indirect all that often.
Exactly, and a pod racer's best side is 2 indirect.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that pod racer works that well. What he does work awesome with, though, is Anakin, but you're not using Anakin from what I hear in there.
I think Ezra with Yoda is just too oppressive, honestly. Being able to just steal a resource from your opponent with special chaining is so good.
Okay. I can understand that. I really like the new Anakin. He just seems so good.
Oh yeah, he's got 3 resource sides, and he can just turn droids or pod racers. You can play him with partnership with the Hellfire tank, and then the Hellfire tank will always get whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I like to go like roll him in, turn R2 to the special. Then you get to do a special chain and draw a card. Maybe you hit another vehicle, surprise him there, drop another vehicle off your rally aid. It's crazy stuff happens with Anakin.
If we had more droids, if we had like Triple O or BT1 in Heroes, I could definitely see myself playing Anakin instead.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I am currently playing a Elite Rose Anakin new Luke vehicles deck, which is kind of insane, but that's what I've been trying. We'll see how it goes.
Interesting. Doesn't the Luke, which Luke are you saying? Luke 2 was that?
Yeah,
Sorry?
no, Luke 3.
Oh, Luke 3. Oh, okay.
At 1 die. Yeah. See?
Are you playing like Way of the Force to make him elite or something?
Nope, I'm not. What I'm doing is playing basically a vehicles deck, and then I'm playing 2 ancient lightsabers in the deck. And so my theory is that if we get to an endgame scenario, I'm assuming that Luke will be the last one alive because they're going to target Rose down first. Then they'll probably clear out Anakin. Luke is left, and I'm able to just kind of cycle ancient lightsabers on him. The dude has 12 health. He can roll, 2 shields as well. Partnership, as you mentioned already. A Luke with 2 ancient lightsabers in a vehicle. You roll them out, you pay the $1, you do a whole pile of damage. He's also able to kind of help the vehicle deck where it's all indirect, and then he gets to chunk 2 at the person he wants to finish that person off, things like that. So theoretically, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know how well it's going to work in practice. That one I'm not clear on.
I mean, 12 health is huge. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, what would I do instead? And I'm like, Ezra? I mean, Elite Ezra's 8 health, 11 points. That could work, but 8 health versus 12 is quite the proposition to make there.
Yeah, 12 health, it just sounds so good. You're like, really? I got 12 health over here. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how do I do this? And meanwhile, I'm rolling all the bombers and stuff out, crushing them. So in theory, I like it. I did just lose my last game with it, unfortunately. I was very sad. I lost by 1 point at the end. So
it's always 1 point, man.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I lost. So I don't think it's the best vehicle deck. I can't imagine it is. But it's interesting. I feel like I like kind of shaking things up like that. Like, here's a vehicle deck with Luke and 2 ancient lightsabers. And it's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. I don't know. Seems interesting.
Yeah.
How about
there are two other decks that I've
awesome.
I've not played them myself, but I've been in sort of like I'm in sort of like the deck building circles, as it were. There's a lot of people who aren't very good at playing the game but like to build a lot of decks, and a lot of them tend to shape a surprising amount of the meta, because then people like me pick them up and then start playing them on the YouTubes and stuff.
Yeah.
And one deck that seems to be doing incredibly well right now is Elite Mother Talzin double Mandalorian Commando.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Did you see my video with the 3 Mandalorians?
I did, and you can do some
so
disgusting
good.
things. So now
They're
stick
so
Mother
good.
Talzin in there.
Oh my god. Yeah, and it makes sense to go with Talzin because it's hard to get 3 upgrades every turn anyway. So if more realistic is 2, then getting the extra Talzin die and the ridiculous turn stuff to a side, yeah, I can see that being better. I'm going tomorrow night to play, and that's one of the decks I'm bringing.
Oh yeah. It's definitely a really good choice in the meta against all of these fast decks that are trying to outspeed this Kylo 2 price deck going on right now.
Yeah, it's
Then
so
the
crazy.
other one is Snoke Commando with Executioner. I don't quite know how that one plays, but I've been told by Gordon Captain that it's a really good deck.
So it's an elite Snoke, an Executioner, and a Commando?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't even know how to comment on that. Snoke
Yeah,
plus anything has the potential to be amazing. So
Yeah, and I guess with Executioner, you're trying to pick off the low health target, and then Executioner rolls himself back in.
yeah, it's just, I don't know, that feels so low impact to roll in the Executioner's die. Like, his die is okay, but I don't know, that, like, you could have, for the exact same cost, you could have Balatik rolling in all the dice on him. So I don't know.
You do get to use melee, though.
Okay. And why do you want
So
to use
ancient
melee?
lightsabers are a thing, I guess.
What's that?
Dagger Mortis, heirlooms,
Okay, sure, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wonder if that exact deck with Balatik and a bunch of redeploy weapons that are guns might just be better. I don't know. I mean, I certainly
Yeah,
haven't
the
tried
issue
it.
there, though, is that with Balatik, you wanted to play the guns on Balatik, of course, rather than Commando. So the Commando becomes kind of redundant.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, but regardless, the Commando's insane. So I think Commando's going to end up being a meta card. He does a lot of damage for 9 health, 9 points.
Oh yeah, he's considered like one of the most efficient characters in this set by far.
Yeah, I would think so. He was the card. He was probably the first non-unique that I looked at and went, this guy seems kind of broken. Like, I'm just going to make a Funsies deck, 3 of them. And even that was kind of broken. I was like, wow, this is a completely untuned rough draft full of terrible upgrades, and it's pretty dang good. That's kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
All right, what about Jabba? You're a deck builder, man. Can we make Jabba good? Say yes. Come on, man.
Jabba 1, absolutely.
No, not Jabba 1. The new Jabba. Mr. Special.
The guy who's just worse than his previous counterpart in every way, except for the fact that he has another health point. Yeah, okay.
No, he's not worse if your deck is full of good specials and you get to use his special and then you do free-for-all and then you do all that.
Sure.
No?
I mean, we already say that I skirt the edge of sanity with Mars Finn already. But yeah, I could dive deeper into the well.
Yeah, the problem with Jabba is that it would be easy to say something like, hey, well, eventually there'll be enough specials. We're already at 5 sets. Like, it's going to rotate soon, and there's going to be less specials. So unless the next set is just chock full of 0 and 1 cost amazing specials, looks like poor Jabba is just a Funsies deck, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, who do you even pair him with? Like, I guess Talzin works, but
Oh, I don't know.
then you've got 2 points left over, and honestly, 2-point plots are pretty bad.
Yeah, 2-point plots are basically worthless in my opinion. I'd rather just put 2 more points into characters at that point.
Absolutely. I guess then you're looking at like the Seventh Sister, but she doesn't have a special.
You know what you could do? Price. You go Price Jabba. Then Price's specials both function to turn your size to be bigger and turn on Jabba. Dude, we just broke the meta.
Absolutely.
No?
You're guaranteed to be able to use Price with her special. You don't even need to claim the battlefield in order to do some special chaining with her. It's insane, right?
Exactly.
And then that can get you like 2 indirect from Jabba. It's fantastic.
Yep. We're on it.
Right. Well, I will say though, the top cut character pairings have been released for season 6 of the Destiny League. Jabba isn't on there at all.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
You're looking at the top amounts is 5 Thrawn Snokes, 4 Yoda Leias, and 3 Kylo Prices.
Wait, 4 Yoda Leias, huh?
Yoda Leia is scary. They can do a lot. I mean, Commando Raid on that Leia 2 discard is insane because that's a 4 discard right there.
Yes.
And you can do some very consistent deck discarding. I've lost my deck on round 3 several times, which most mill decks kill you round 4, not round 3.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think that Cassian's just better than Leia for this.
Yeah. Boy. Yeah, I don't know. The problem with Cassian is, in order to use Leia's ability, you would have to remove his die so he doesn't get to trigger his ability. Maybe that's why Yoda's better? I don't know.
Oh, no. I'm saying Cassian Yoda rather than Leia
Cassian
Yoda.
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah. It gives you easy pickings, gives you hyperspace jump, it gives you Cassian's specific mill event, which Yoda can special chain like crazy. You see, Yoda's the better Jabba.
Yoda's definitely a better Jabba. I will give you that all day, every day. Let's see. Oh, okay. I know what I wanted to ask you. What do you think about Aphra? I'm trying to make Aphra work, and it looks to me like she still doesn't quite work.
I really do like Aphra. My problem is I was playing Elite Aphra with Palpatine 2, as I was saying, and it wasn't hard to get off these 1-cost, 0-cost delves, but the value of what you could get off of it just isn't there when you're playing it with Blue. And Blue is really good right now. You've got to be playing a very good deck to not be playing Blue.
Yeah. I agree with that. I tried a lot of different Aphra stuff. What it came down to me is that the droids just aren't quite good enough. Like, 000 is good, but I don't feel like he's game-breaking. I don't feel like BT is game-breaking. I feel like they're fine. And Aphra, to me, doesn't seem good enough. Like, she has to be paired with someone who's game-breaking, and then these droids just sort of help out. I don't know. It just doesn't... Like, it feels fine, but it doesn't feel amazing to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, villains don't particularly have a good 15 or 16 cost red villain, do they, generally? I mean, I think the best you get there is the Phasma.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is unfortunate because you could, if Aphra has had a good 16 cost red villain partner, I could definitely see her being played with the Hellfire droid tank, which is a droid, of course, to reduce the cost by 1. Play her with the BT1 and the Triple O. Play, say, Archangel, which allows you to activate multiple supports, and try for like a fast vehicle sort of deck.
Wow, that's an interesting idea. I went the other way. What I did is I decided that Aphra's dice are not great, so I went 1 die Aphra. I went 1 die Seventh Sister to get 2 dice, and then I get another 8-cost guy, and so I'm getting 3 characters, 4 dice, cheap droids, but just wasn't enough. I was like, cool, I got a bunch of droids. Great. I'm rolling like 7 dice that are not that great now.
Yeah.
So it just didn't do enough.
Yeah. I mean, at least you get to ping the enemy for one. I mean, if Triple O wasn't unique, that would be just broken.
Oh yeah.
And then Afro would be amazing.
Yeah, then effort would be great. But yeah, it just seems like it's a lot of that. It's like, I ping you for 1, I resolve for 1, I do 1 more, and they're like, okay, you just resolved 4 dice and did 5 damage. And you're like, yeah, oh, I guess you're right. That wasn't that great.
If they had Heroes card, which allows you to look at your top 5 cards and to search out a droid,
yes,
then you could do that with the Start Your Engines on the Pod Racer to be searching out your Hellfire droids and your neutral 1-cost Pod Racer, and then there you go. You can do what I was going to do with the heroes, except with villains.
And you can ping for 1 more every turn.
Exactly.
But you don't get to turn to the side of your choice with Anakin. I
think
sad.
drawing a card is better than turning a die to a side of your choice, honestly.
Okay, that's true. I did go out and buy an Afra, actually. I bought a single for $7, and now I'm kind of like, that was probably a mistake. Like, I don't think I needed 2 Afra.
Hey, I'm sure by set 6, right? Like,
I know.
Let's just keep this going. By set 6,
Right.
it'll be great.
Afra is going to be good. I guess the answer is not now. All right, here's a deck, an obvious deck. Plo Koon and his buddies. Like, that deck just seems insane. I've played it twice, and it was ridiculous. Both games, it was like turn 2, I had 4 weapons. You get I'm failing on the name. The support that lets you have an extra upgrade. You get both of those out. What's that?
Hone training, I believe.
Hone skills. So you get hone skills out. You get them both out. So the end of the game, you're rolling a Padawan with 5 upgrades on him, and you're just laughing.
Absolutely. That's definitely going to be a deck for the Gauntlet, I think. I think it's going to be a solid tier 2, maybe 2.5, or even a worse tier 3 deck. But the resource generation is pretty insane. I mean, I've seen people even running stuff like Bestow, which allows you to move a weapon from one character to another, which allows you to play your Plo, play your upgrade on your Plo for 2 resources, roll out for free, roll out Plo, bestow it for 1 cost onto a Padawan, and then you can play the crafted lightsaber onto Plo for 0 cost, and you've saved an extra resource again.
Yep. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff you get to do with that deck. I don't think it's going to be that low. I think lowest it goes is tier 2. I think it's just really strong. I think
those Padawans are so flimsy, though.
I know, that's what holds it back. That is definitely what holds it back. My whole deck is basically redeploy weapons, so it's not as bad, but you're definitely right. Like, you get into that late game where you've got your Padawan with 5 upgrades, and he only has 5 health left, and they just God roll you and kill the Padawan instantly, and you're like, oh, no. But, yeah, you're definitely right on that. That's what holds it back.
Definitely could do well against the mill decks.
Yeah.
Could definitely do well against the mill decks, though, who have a lot of trouble with people who can just ramp up that fast.
Yep, I agree.
We're seeing a lot of mill.
Yeah, and you might also be okay against the indirect damage vehicle decks if they can spread the damage out enough. But I think against something like Kylo Price, where they can just possibly pick off a Padawan early turn 2, early turn 3, and then, shouldn't be too hard from there.
But you still only have like 24 health, though, don't you? That's practically 2 characters.
I know. It's so crazy. All right, I got a crazy deck idea for you. Tell me if I'm insane. What about, instead of Kylo Price, Boba Fett Price?
It's what, sorry?
What's up? Boba Fett Price.
Well, I mean, you are insane. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Why would you ever take Price over Phasma in that deck?
The special chaining.
Okay. I mean, special chaining is all right, but you have Emperor's Throne Room usually for that sort of special chaining. And Boba has great sides on his own a lot of the time. I mean, we're not seeing huge dice anymore. I mean, if planetary bombardment becomes a big thing, then I'm going to eat my hat. I'll buy my words, absolutely. But in general, I think you're not necessarily going to get as much value out of that as if you just resolved Boba's dice for 3 using her specials.
Right,
and
but
at
that's
that
the other
point,
thing.
maybe you should be playing DJ instead.
Right, that's the other thing. It's like, okay, I now have that option. If they are playing big dice, I can special chain. If not, I just turn to the 2, resolve for 3, then I claim. I get more damage, but I think you're definitely right. It's just not as good as Kylo, because Kylo basically does all that, but then rolls out and does 2 damage.
Yeah, or DJ again. I think you might be possible to safely replace Boba with DJ in pretty much every deck.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see what you're saying, especially if there aren't big dice that you're working with.
Yeah,
I do like DJ. Okay, so let's talk DJ. Is DJ good?
I wish.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's the best I can give you. I mean, his damage is not insignificant. I do think it is better than the standard Boba Phasma, but only slightly. It's decent damage. I mean, the problem is you would really want to play him with blue for the better removal.
Yep.
But then you're looking at mixed damage, because the best blue is going to be Seventh Sister with him, unless you're wanting to go Snoke, I guess.
You want to hear my deck?
Snoke could work.
You ready for my deck?
All right.
Kylo 2, Elite, DJ 1 die.
All right, there you go.
That deck actually is remarkably good. Like, it sounds like it's just the biggest piece of garbage, but what ends up happening is you have a late game scenario where you've done quite a bit of damage with just Kylo rolling in, DJ pinging, and then late game is you're playing hone skills. So you have like DJ with a holocron, you've holocroned an upgrade onto him, you have a couple other little upgrades on him, so he's rolling in 4 dice, and then you're doing crazy things like doing a melee damage with the stun baton and then removing all of their dice for 3. With whatever that card is called, the blue event. And then when you remove all their dice, you do 5 indirect damage to them. Like, there are crazy closer plays with DJ, and they leave DJ alive because what kind of lunatic would leave the 2-die Kylo alive over DJ?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Holocron package is definitely alive and well, just not as alive and well as, say, the Ancient Lightsaber package. Yeah. Because Ancient Lightsaber. But yeah, I mean, that definitely could be a thing. I can see, because I mean, I'm not a fan of Elite Anakin generally. I think he's a bit overrated of a card. He definitely does damage for his 13 points, but you're even removing 1 die with DJ. That's probably about equivalent.
Yeah, I really have liked this deck. Like I said, it's you know, the one game I lost with it, something weird happened where it was like I shielded up Kylo, and then I put a holocron on DJ, and I ended up getting a force throw on DJ, and they were like, screw it, I'm going to kill DJ. And that actually worked. I was like, no, what are you doing? And then I was never able to get anything great on Kylo, and then Kylo was just rolling in, you know, like a stun baton or something with his dice, and I could never quite finish him off. It was really annoying.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because that definitely does actually sound quite promising. I mean, you've got the yellow with the blue. I mean, villain blue tends to be quite insular. It doesn't really need yellow, but there's some good yellow cards that exist out there for blue.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get the money together, like I said, it feels like it has those closing plays where In the Crosshairs and Decisive Blow are both these amazing blowout plays at the end of the game because they're taking all their dice away and doing piles of damage. I don't know. It's been interesting. I play Frozen Waste with it, Stun Baton to remove dice, Force Throw to remove dice. Yeah, it's been interesting.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you now. Stun Baton has to go. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. You do 2 damage and you pay $1 and pull a die away, so it does 3 damage for $1.
Hey, you was not a fan of me spending 1 resource to play a pod racer for 2 indirect. You're willing to pay 1 resource for 1 indirect.
And removing a die though, because then you're staying alive longer. No, One of the main reasons why I like it, though, is that it combos so well with Decisive Blow, the 3 costs to remove all their dice if you resolve a melee. So it has the 2 melee sides. I don't know. Maybe there's better choices.
Yeah, I mean, I would just take Ancient Lightsaber, obviously, but
I have 2 of those. I'm not crazy.
Got the Mandalorian gloves, whatever they are.
Oh,
that's got a melee side on it.
Okay.
I actually really like that card, not just in the Commandos deck, but like just having a 1-cost equipment like that has no blanks.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's a really good card. It also has pseudo redeploy, so it's a really versatile, good card. I think we're going to end up seeing it in most decks. I think it's just a good card.
Absolutely. I mean, people were playing in Worlds for one day after just before day 1A started. People were going mad trying to find energy slingshots. because
wow,
it wasn't because one of the hyperloopers was running energy slingshot in their deck, and it was doing work, and everyone was like, oh my god, we all need to find energy slingshots now.
That's hilarious.
This is a better energy slingshot.
I feel like Mike and Joe, like their new strategy for Worlds should be this: you take a legendary that no one is playing and it's worthless. You buy them all. You take it to Worlds. In the warm-up games before the main event, you crush with whatever deck it is you're playing because they're so talented. You highlight how good those legendaries are, and then you sell them to everyone at inflated prices.
Absolutely. I mean, I knew people who were selling their energy slingshots for like $10 that night.
Well, there you go, Hyperloots. I've given you another money channel. Go ahead and use it. You're welcome. You don't even have to give me a cut. You're welcome.
That might fall under like insider trading laws. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's no laws when it comes to Destiny. We're in a lawless wasteland at this point. I'm looking through the legendaries trying to figure. You know what it is? It's Chopper, because Anakin can turn Chopper to the special, which would then allow you to remove a die. Or like chain him with other specials. It's Chopper. Mike, use Chopper at Worlds. Sell them for $20 a piece. There you go.
All right, man. Phone up Mike right now. I'm gonna buy all the ones in England. You buy all the ones in America. Let's do this.
Okay. Okay, I think we're on to something. All right. Well, those are just some of the decks that I'm seeing, that you're seeing, that are either winning currently or we think might win. And good luck in both of your events coming up. Are you going to do well?
Yeah, I'm going to do amazingly well. You know, I've already got into the top 32 of one of them, so I'm doing amazingly well, yeah.
Do you know who you're playing in the first round?
I'm playing against a guy called Volts, I believe. Never heard of him.
Okay. You got it then.
Absolutely never heard of him. And he's playing Snoke Throne.
Oh,
so we'll see how that goes against my Finn Mars, which has retreat and hyperspace jump. I don't think it's going to be a good time for vehicles.
Yeah, that sounds really bad for him, actually. Have you even tested this Finn Mazda? Because it sounds like madness.
I have played it for 1 day straight, I'll have you know. I uploaded one video of it on YouTube where I lost miserably because I made some very stupid mistakes.
Okay, I'm going to make a prediction here that you're not going to like. You're not going to win this event with Maz Finn. I'm just going to say it. I'm rooting for you to win it. Don't worry. I have your back. But my prediction is you will not.
Yeah, I mean, Finn does not like to play ball with his dice a lot of the time. I mean, it's probably going to happen. You're probably right. I've played in pretty much every single Artificery event there has ever been, and I've never got to beyond top 4. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, make a video of the Thrawn Snoke deck. Put it online. Let me know. I'll link it to this episode of the Smugglers Den, and we'll all watch it together. And hopefully you will hyperspace all day long and win that one easily.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going tomorrow to a draft for Ways of the Force. Hopefully that'll go well for me. Beforehand, though, I'm going to
pull that second Grievous. It's going to be great.
I'm going to bring Mando, Talzin. I think I'm going to bring Snoke Throng, because I think that'll be fun. And what do you think? What should be the third deck I make?
Man, you're going to have to play Finn Mars.
No, I'm not making Finn Moss. I only have one Finn, and I have lost the die, so that's just out. I have
All right,
Maz.
Pomaz.
Pomaz. Okay, I probably won't make that either, but I'll think about it. I forgot to mention this.
Way worse.
I bought a box, and it only had 5 legendaries in it.
They're ripping you off, man.
I was really upset, actually. I streamed it. I live streamed it even, so I'm tempted to message FFG and be like, look, I have proof. You've wronged me.
Absolutely.
They'll probably say, though, like,
Absolutely.
where does it say on the box you get 6 legendaries? It doesn't say that. That's just what people think. So I thought it only had 3. I thought it only had 3, and then I realized terrible cards like Planetary Bombardment and Grievous's Wheel Bike were legendaries. So,
Hey, don't diss that unicycle.
I don't know. Okay, before we go, let's talk about the unicycle real quick. Is this any good, the fact that it has that power action, can spend a resource to put it back, to ready it? I mean, we're not playing it in a Grievous deck because Grievous is bad, so you're spending a resource.
I mean, the way I like to see it there is that it's very similar to Runaway Boomers.
Okay.
Because Runaway Boomers is also spend a resource to throw another one of its dice into the pool. And I really love Runaway Boomers. I can't play it anymore because there's better cards out there, but I really love Runaway Boomers. But of course, it's a modifier. It's a +3. Base sides are going to be a big problem there. I mean, what do you play in red that would be willing to run this other than, like, Executioner?
Yeah. Yeah, I think red is the problem. Let's think about it from another perspective, though. What if it was blue and it was called Dooku's Wheel Bike?
I think it would absolutely see play.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that.
Especially if the power action is that it doesn't cost a resource if you've got Dooku, because Dooku is very strong.
Yeah.
Not strong enough, I think, to be tier 1 or even tier 2, but he is very scary still. And having an extra die to turn to +3.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I feel like it's actually kind of similar to Maul Saber, but they can have shields. It doesn't go away when the character dies because it's a support. It is a little bit slower, and I think, of course, the downside is it only has 2 melee sides instead of 4. So, but it's interesting. I don't know. I'm not saying I think it's good.
I really do want to make that work somehow.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying it's more interesting than I originally gave it credit for. I originally looked at it and basically threw it in my pile of awful legendaries that are unplayable, and I've since took it out and put it in the pile of, I don't know, maybe this one's decent.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Now hear me out. Maybe the Snoke Commando Executioner deck plays Grievous's Wheel Bike, and it's the best thing ever.
Maybe.
You've got melee.
All right.
It exists.
I think this is the perfect place to leave it at. Maybe that's the best deck. All right. Well, Gameslayer, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
And for everyone out there, that wraps up another edition of the Smugglers Den. And until next week, as always, keep smuggling. Keep smuggling.